Okay, good morning for IT 306 lecture. So our
Morning po.
lesson number 1 is Introduction to Computer Animation. Pa-off na lang muna yung ating mga speaker para walang mga marinig na ano-ano. Kasi naka-record po ito for your classmate, yung mga hindi makaka-attend ng ating lessons. So computer animation is our lesson number 1, the introduction of this. So animate is from the word to give life to, specify directly or indirectly how thing moves in time and space. Sa Antipolo okay na yan, pero sa QC nag-start pa lang sila, no? So animation is a tools. There are two main categories of that animation. We have the computer-assisted animation, the computer-generated animation. So for computer-assisted animation, you have 2D and 2.5D. Meron na rin po tayong 3D. So meron na rin na-view na hanggang 5D. So here in computer-assisted animation, in-betweening, meron din tayo dyan. Inking, virtual camera, managing data, etc. For our computer-generated animation, we have the low-level techniques, precisely specifying the motion. Meron din tayong high-level techniques, describing the general motions behavior. So as you can see on the right side of the picture, yung ating computer-assisted animation, 2D lang, not unlike dito sa computer-generated animation. So for the low-level techniques, dito sa ating balikan natin yung computer-generated animation. For our low-level techniques, we have the shape interpolation, yung tinatawag na in-betweening. Have to know what you want. So here, in low-level techniques, you are animating on the motions of what you want your character to perform. And for the high-level techniques, generate the motion with set of rules or constraints, physically based motion. As you can see on the right side of the picture, you can view that the 3D motions of the character. Okay, so abstraction. We are also doing an abstractions in our animation. So ano ba yung abstraction? It is similar to a opening your lights. Pag in-on mo yung lights, you will be given lights. Pag in-off mo, naka-off yung light. So yung process nun, kung paano siya magbubukas at mag-open, hindi na natin ano yun, binibigyan ng focus. So ang focus sa abstraction is, pag in-on mo, mag-open, pag in-off mo, mag-close. So animator colors each pixel too, kasi ang ating mga animation is made of different pixels. Kaya lang yung paggawa ng pixels na yon, especially if it is a built-in, kaya nga abstraction, hindi na natin ang concern niya. Ang concern natin is how our character to move. So each pixel, tell computer to make movie about a dog. Kaya ito yung example niyan. If you are making a movie about a dog, your concern is the movement of a dog and the messages that the dog will give. Ayan. Then, may mga nagpa-admit pa eh. Perceptions of animation for it is playback rate, sampling or update rate. Sa TV, there are 30 images per second. Sa morning cartoons, we have 6 different images per second, each image repeated 5 times. No? Kung nung unang panahon, para makapag-animate ka, you need to draw it all over again. Ganon din naman dito, pero ang gumagawa na nun ay hindi na natin concern yung mga character, no? May mga built-in character na pwedeng gamitin. So what are the heritage of animation? As you can see, no, parang nakikita natin yan sa mga horror movies. So yung ating zoetrope. Persistence of vision discovered about 1800, zoetrope, or the Wheel of Life, and the flip book. So until now, you have also that flip book pag-a-attend ka ng mga birthdays, di ba? Yung kanilang mga ang tawag doon, ibinibigay sa picture booth, sa photo booth. Nakikita mo yan. So sometimes meron silang ino-offer na ganyan. But if you are animating manually, during 1800s, they use the two methods. So another one is camera to make the lifeless things move. Melays, 1890, using the simple tricks. And Emil Cole, 1857 to 1938. Emil Cole is a French. So yung first diagram, ABC, is for Melays, 1890. As you can see, talagang 2D lang siya with, hanggang ngayon, ginagamit pa rin yan for mga beginners na nag-a-animate, yung Stickman. So, Emil Cole yung second pictures. And for J. Stuart Blackstone, he is an American. So, meet Thomas Edison in 1895. Si Thomas Edison kasi ang naka-discover ng ating mga photos, picture taking, ganyan. Combined drawing and file, the enchanted drawing, yung drawing sa taas. 6 years later, nagkaroon siya ng humorous faces of funny faces. So, yan yung gawa ni Thomas Edison. And for the later, papanood ko sa inyo yung mga old animations. The very first animations. Then, yung nasa babang picture, si James Stuart Blackstone yan. Yung kanyang animated Smoke in 1900s. The first animated cartoon in 1906. First celebrated animator, Winsor McCay, American. Yung kanyang Little Nemo. Diba ang Nemo natin dito ay isda. So dati hindi naman isda ang Little Nemo. So yung kanyang Jerty the Dinosaur in 1914. Ayan yung mga pictures representing Winsor McCay. Heritage of animation again. The first major technical development by John Bray and Earl Hurd, 1910. It is the translucent cell, short for celluloid, in compositing multiple layers. They use of grayscale as opposed to black and white. So para lang magkaroon ng different colors, they use the gray. Then color short in 1920, as you can see on the picture below. So kasi medyo yung black and white nagamit na ng iba, so they use the grayscale. And then out of Bray Studio, Max Fleiser, yung kanyang Betty Boop, at yung Popeye. So I hope napapanood niyo na yung mga 2D animations niyan. Until now, no, may mga pinapakita pa rin ganyan. Patented rotoscoping in 1915. Tagal na pala niyan. Then drain in images on cells by tracing over previously recorded live actions. Paul Terry, yung Terrytoons, and then Mighty Mouse, George Stallings, Walter Lantz, Woody Woodpecker. So yun yung mga heritage ng animation during 1900s. And animation as an art form, first animated character with personality, yung Felix the Cat by Otto Mesmer in 1920s. So yan pa yung mga dati namin pinanonood ng time namin. Pero hindi naman ako pinanganak na 1920s. Felix the Cat. Forced to Reckon with Sounds and Walt Disney. So nakikita naman natin si Felix the Cat ay isang black and white cat. So nagkaroon na ng innovations. Naging yung animation as an art form. They created the Disney. Meron ng storyboard to review the story. Pencil sketch to review motions. Multi-plane camera stand. Color, not the first to use color. Sound, medyo hindi pa rin masyadong ano yung sound. Steamboat. Nagbigay ng sound si Steamboat Willie noong 1928. So they use the multiplane camera. So it means they are moved scene layers independently of camera. So gumagamit sila ng different cameras to move the animation. And then by MGM and Warner Brothers, they use this, as you can see on the different photos, no, yung mga gawa ng Warner Brothers, ng MGM. So other media animations, computer animations often compared to stop the motion animation. The puppet animation by Willis O'Brien, yung kanyang King Kong. Ray Harryhausen, yung kanyang Mighty Joe Young, Jason and the Argonauts. And then using the claymation, yan, dyan sa mga makikita nyo dyan sa images, sa photos. And then the pinhead animation, the sand animation. So there are different other media animations na ginawa. No, out of yung gawa ni nung nakaraan na puro mga pictures lang. And then physical object is manipulated, image captured, repeated. Okay, hierarchy of film animation. So until now, they use this hierarchy. First is the presentation, then act, scene, shot, and frame. So if you're going to animate, siyempre ang unang-una idea. What will be the story behind your animations? Ano yung mga story? At yung kanilang mga act na gagawin. So for every act, you have different scene. And then shot the scene and then create the frame. Productions of animation, preliminary story, ito yung sinasabi ko. So in computer animation, basically you have to follow this pipeline. What will be the preliminary story? So ikaw ay magiging story writer, ikaw din ang magiging director, ikaw rin yung mga script writing. Then after the preliminary story, the storyboard and the detailed story. So what will be the script of each character? Ilang character ba ang kailangan mong gamitin? Kung isang character lang, so meron ka ng story. So you have to list all the characters for that story. And then the detailed story behind the different characters. Bukod pa dun sa main story, siyempre may mga detailed story yan, bawat characters na kailangan ninyong pagalawin, i-animate. And then the keyframes, how many frames you will use. So bawat frame, ano yung kanyang motions. And then the test shot, the pencil test, ano yung in-betweening, then the inking and the coloring. Computer animation as animation. Lasseter translated the principles of animation as articulated by 2 of 9 old men of Disney to computer animation. So ito si Lasseter, nasa left side ng aking pictures. Yan. So si Lasseter is a conventionally trained the animator. They work at Disney before going to Pixar, kasi yung Pixar na ngayon ang may hawak. Then many celebrated animations, the Knick-Knack Oscar winning, ayan sa baba, yung Toy Story. Di ba yung ating Toy Story, meron niyang part 1, part 2, part 3. So, ilan na ba ngayon ang ginagawa ng Toy Story kasi medyo kumita yung Toy Story. A short story of computer animation in research labs. Yung ating New York Institute of Technology or NYIT. They created that still frame from Gambi animation. So ayan si Hank Green and Doc Landit in 1984. And in the University of Utah, films on walking and talking figures. Ayan sa upper top right corner ng pictures. Yan yung films on walking and talking na created ng University of Utah. And then the animated hand and animated face in 1972. As you can see on the photos. And then University of Pennsylvania, the human figure animation by Norm Badler. Yan yung may iba't ibang muka, iba't ibang faces. Then Cornell University, their architectural walkthrough by Don Greenberg. Ayan yung Scientific American. And then the history of computer animation in 1974. Yung kanina pinakita lang yun yung heritage, kung kanino nagsimula. Yung mga naging pamana ng ibang mga animators. Na sinundan lang. Kumbaga, in-update or inayos, pinaganda ng ibang animators natin ngayon. But the idea is coming from the old animator. So, History of Computer Animation in 1974, Hunger by Rin Jodouin and Peter Folds, yung kanyang 2.5D system, the object interpolations, followed by current activity centers, namely the University of Toronto Computer Science Department. Kasi nag-start naman ng IT, wala pang IT kasi noon, computer science pa lang ang unang course when it comes to computer. So tayo, 80s na tayo nagkaroon ng computer science courses. No? Simon Fraser University Graphics and Multimedia Research Lab, followed by Georgia Tech's Graphics Visualization and Usability Center, and then Brown Computer Graphics Group, Ohio State University's ACCAD or ACAD, Ohio State University Department of Computer and Information Science, the George Washington University Graphics Group, UC San Diego's Department of Computer Science and Engineering, University of North Carolina's Computer Science Department, and MIT's Media Lab, MIT's Laboratory for Computer Science, and University of Wisconsin at Madison. So there are current activity centers na piniperform ng given different laboratories. So yan yung list. And the history of film and video, the companies that provide for that film and video are the MAGI or the Mathematical Application Group Incorporation, the Information International Incorporation or TRI or the III, 3I, the Digital Production, the Digital Effect, the Image, West, Robert Abel and Associate, and Cranston Sizuri. So, interruptions lang kasi we are using a platform that will only cater 40 minutes, no? Kaya medyo malilimit yung ating discussions and 40, but we will have another set of discussions. So kapag nawala, it means nag-stop na yung ating discussions and we will have a 5 minutes break for the continuations of discussions. Then next meeting na lang natin i-utilize yung ating Google Meet. Kasi sa Google Meet naman walang recording. So I need to install a recorder, a screen recorder on my PC. Ayan ha, pag nawala kayo, so it means magbe-break muna tayo ng 5 minutes. And then continuation, na mag-intay na lang kayo ng link for that. Okay, to continue, the current companies like the Pixar, the Industrial Light and Magic or ILM, the Pacific Data Images, PDI, the Disney, the South, the Rhythm and Use, Digital Domain, Lab and Company, Metrolight Studios, Boss Film Studios, and then the Graph, Warman, R. Greenberg Associates, and then, saan na tayo? Blue Sky Productions, Sony Pictures, Cinesite, Imageworks, Apple. Animations that paved the way, sa mga minention natin, yung Pixar by Luxo Jr. 1986. So ito yung first computer animation to be nominated for an Academy Award. The Red's Dream in 1987, Tintoy in 1988, the first computer animation to win an Academy Award, and Knick Knack in 1989. So when I was in FEU Tech, nung nagtuturo pa ako sa FEU Tech, naging bisita namin ng isang kinatawan ng Pixar. So nagkaroon siya ng konting discussions about Pixar. And for your assignment, so get a little information with photos on the given CG and be ready to present next meeting. Ang CG natin, itong mga diniscuss natin, ayan yung mga computer graphics companies. Tsaka ito pa, ayan, yung early CG in film. Future World, 1976. Star Wars, 1977. So, dyan ninyo i-relay yung assignment. Information with photos. Throne in 1982. So, supposed to look like a computer. The Last Starfighter in 1984. They use CG in place of models. The Willow in 1988 or ILM. Morphing video naman ang ginagawa nila. The first digital blue screen matte extraction. Howard the Duck in 1986. The first wire removal. The Abyss in 1989. Then Jurassic Park in 1993. Forrest Gump. And then Babe. And then Toy Story. So the early CG on TV, you have the Reboot in 1995. Lamplight Limited BLT Production, Similar Intention of Inside Computer. First fully 3D morning cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons kasi. Dati kasi every Saturday, nandun yung mga cartoons, movie. So the Babylon 5 in 1995. They used the routinely CG models as regular features. The Simpsons in 1991. And to give you the summary of the evolutions of the cartoons or the animations. Ito yun, 1971. Metadata, the first 2D keyframe animation, the software short movie. In 1973, the Westward, the first 2D raster graphics to represent point of view. 1977, the Star Wars, the first use of an animated 3D wireframe graphics. 1981, Looker, the first CGI human character. Cindy, first to use the modern shading. In 1982, the Star Trek II, Wraith of Khan. First film to use particle effects. And in 1982, The Throne, the 15 minutes of full CGI animation or the light cycle. 1984, The Last Starfighter, they used CGI for all spaceship shots. And in 1985, The Young Sherlock Holmes. 1986, Labyrinth. And 1988, The Willow, the first photorealistic use of morphing effect in a feature film. The Abyss, the first digital water effect. And Total Recall, the use of motion capture for CGI characters. And then the Jurassic Park, the first photorealistic creatures. And then the Toy Story, the first CGI feature-length film. And Jimmy Neutron, The Boy Genius, the first film to use off-the-shelf software. So it means they use another programming language, no, para makapag-create ng Jimmy Neutron film. The Lord of the Rings, the first use of AR or the artificial intelligence for actors. And The Polar Express in 2004, the first film to use the motion capture for all actors. And in 2009, The Avatar, the first film to use the photorealistic characters in a fully CG 3D world. Ayan, so yan yung aking mga resources. If you want to make research, ayan, so pwede nyo kuhanin yung ating mga references. Okay? Ayan, so since hindi pa tayo na-out, balik tayo sa inyo.